Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for November 17, 2022, the All Wall Street Journal edition. Today we have 4 stories from the Wall Street Journal. The first one is the Federal Reserve's Vice Chairman Michael Barr says the crypto meltdown in industry highlights the turmoil and potential risks to the U.S. financial system, and it has raised serious red flags. He has pressed for guardrails in the wake of the collapse, but we still don't have anything out of the Senate or the House on this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this moves forward. Next up, from Dylan Tokar over at the Risk and Compliance Journal, a small business group is seeking to block a law designed to stop money laundering by rooting out the use of anonymous shell companies. The National Small Business Association has sued, saying it infringes on protected rights of state sovereignty. Obviously, this is a group that does not want to disclose this information. The cost to do so is just almost minuscule, but it's something that this group is going to fight, and it would certainly set back money laundering fight in the United States if they were to succeed. Next up, Microsoft announces new harassment policies in response to an internal review. It's enhanced its policies meant to prevent sexual harassment and gender discrimination. The policies made public along with a 50-page report by a law firm which conducted review followed an unexpected victory by activist shareholders who passed a proposal demanding greater disclosure around sexual harassment. The company said it would conduct the internal review and release the results of the summary, which it did. The resulting report showed that while Microsoft strives to follow best practices, it still needs to consider certain enhancements to existing policies, procedures, and practices. Among the recommendations, continue to increase the percentage of women in leadership positions and build a better system for managers and board members to disclose consensual relationships. And our final story comes to us from Mingy Sun over at the Risk and Compliance Journal, who reports that the Securities and Exchange Commission announced a record year for enforcement in fiscal year 2021 or 2022. The SEC filed 760 enforcement actions for the year ending September 30, up 9% from the prior year. It imposed a total of $6.44 billion in monetary penalties, the highest on record, and 67% above the prior year. So SEC enforcement's real. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.